Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the literary briefs edition. That means we got Steve to just wear his underwear. Just kidding. Eventually I'm going to get this to stick and we're going to have an underwear company that supports this particular podcast. Yeah. Okay. This is Literary Briefs. I am your host, Erica Lance, and I'm not drinking alcohol because I'm on antibiotics, and you can't fucking tell, can you? No, that's how good of a drunk I am. I just hope everybody appreciates it's a avid listener of this podcast. I want you to see you can definitely tell when I've over inebriated myself and when I'm just fucking normal. Okay. My co-host today is the amazing copycat with a sore throat, Mark Muncy from Erie Travels.
And we were nowhere near each other either, and I still got it. So it's,
no, he's trying to be like me. He's one of the cool kids.
We were recording our podcast, Erie Travels, and then it was one of those, we talked about Robert the Doll for about 2 seconds too long without saying how great he was. And here we are. So
hey, Robert the Doll is amazing, and
he is the most incredible doll and the most handsome doll in the world. But today I am drinking. I'm trying something.
We're not doing that yet, Mark.
Oh, I thought we were.
At that point.
Fine, I'm Mark from
I'm trying to invite the guest. Robert, you can be a guest anytime on our podcast.
Yes,
by the way.
Yes, anytime, Robert. Come on down.
Yeah. Since he killed the latest filmmaker that didn't ask him for things. Well done, by the way. You should always ask Robert things. Okay. Steve Altier is our guest. Woo! Woo! Okay. Now let's talk about what we're drinking and not anything else that we were previously talking about because we don't have time. In my Tinkerbell cup, I am drinking what the remnants, and I mean remnants because it's really only melted marshmallows now, of hot chocolate because I'm on antibiotics and I'm not allowed to drink anymore for right this momentary blip. But this is in honor of Jody Lynn Nye, whose hot chocolate is her favorite thing to drink when she's on my podcast. So I thought that, and it's now 31 degrees up here in the mountains. Right. Mark, go ahead and hold it up now. That amazing.
Yes, all right, so this is Morbid Curiosities, which is from not from our friends at Coffee Shop of Horrors, but a new company. So I'm excited to try it. And this is their Bell Book and Candle. So it is a buttery and daring chai, and it is a wonderful tea. And man, is it delicious! So
that sounds amazing and very Sleeping Beauty, not Sleeping Beauty. Oh my God, Beauty and the Beast, and I appreciate it fully. Wow,
out of my Jawa mug. So this is
I like your Jawa mug. Jawas are my favorite character in Star Wars, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm saying that because all they say is Utini. But okay. Steve, what are you drinking now that you've had to sit through that entire bit of bullshit?
Well, now that the bullshit's done. So no. First off, thanks for having me on the show. I really love it. And I am feeling all bubbly inside, because at least that's what it says on the thing. I am drinking a Dr. Pepper that I picked up at Culver's, where I had dinner earlier this evening.
I do enjoy Culver's. I have to say, I wonder if they put their shakes in those cups, because that would make me nervous for a cup to say all bubbly inside and they put shakes in it.
I don't know. I haven't had a shake.
Next time you're at Culver's, Steve, I need you to investigate this, because I think we need to write a letter if that's the case.
I'm on it.
Yeah, I do enjoy me a Culver's shake, but if they put bubbly inside, I think I'm going to have some words. Okay, Steve, you've been on this podcast before, so I'm not going to ask you the normal questions. So in case you thought you were going to cheat and repeat yourself, that's not happening.
Okay.
So what is the best book you've read in the last year?
I'm going to have to say The Witch of the Black Circle, written by a favorite author of mine, Maria de Vivo. She's a great, very talented writer. I don't know if you've ever had her on the show, but you should.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Maria's one awesome. Of our peeps.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I was reading, and I actually know the author quite well. And after reading chapter 6, I called her one evening. I said, so I love chapter 6. And I said, you've opened my eyes to a whole new Maria. And she says, oh, wait till you get to chapter 10. And I'm like, okay, now I got to keep reading. But no, it was a wonderful story. And funny for me, because I'm not really into the witchcraft thing. It's not really my genre. but I was fascinated, and she really pulled me into her world. Very, very talented writer. I loved it. I bought the second book, and her new one is just coming out now.
Witch of
And
the White Locust.
Yeah.
what is it? The White?
And it's called Witch of the White Locust is the third one. And it's from a male POV.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to getting that one.
Yep.
But no, that's probably one of the best books I've read in the last 6 months.
She is a machine, and she's a promoter like you. She knows how to hit all the cons too. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, fabulous. Good friend of mine.
Yeah, no, she is amazing. Okay. Have you read any books this year that you were like, they probably should have done more blank to this book? Basically, are there any books you started to read that you didn't like?
There is one. I'm trying to. I read probably the first 100 pages and I set it off to the side. I can't even remember the title because it lost me. It was taking too long to develop.
Oh, really?
And I really don't want to. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into writing a story, so I don't want to really badmouth anybody, and I don't want to say anything nasty. So, but no, this book I can't remember the title. Is on my. It went to the bottom of to read stack, and I may get back to it someday, but I kind of doubt it.
No, there's something to be said for way too much exposition. I'm not a big fan of way too much exposition. I want a story. I want it to be told beautifully. I want you to, I feel like one of the things that makes a writer amazing, and I'm gonna put it this way, a writer amazing is good storytelling. Storytelling is very different than writing because I happen to be on a call right now with you two amazing storytellers, but it's one thing when you can get compliments that say, when you're in the story, like you can't get out, I can't put it down, it was amazing. When those words come out, I can't put it down, it means you're a fucking phenomenal storyteller because you've pulled the person in. And that doesn't mean that you didn't tell a story. It's just you're not a storyteller, because you can still tell a story. You can still look at a book and go, yeah, no, they told the story. But it's like when you get immersed and you're like, oh, I don't want to put this down, or you wake up with your Kindle hitting you in the face. That's never happened to me all the time. That's when it's a good story. I had to stop reading rail books, Steve, because I was getting hit in the face with things that were much heavier, and wow, that sounded inappropriate. Anyway, next question.
If you ever read one of my stories, I'll be more than happy to sign your Kindle with my Sharpie.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hard pass on that. Stop threatening me. And for the record, I think I have an in for getting copies of your book. Weirdly, let's talk a little bit about what about shows and TV shows or movies that came out this year based on books, and what do you any that have struck your fancy?
I've been reading, and I can't remember her name. Oh gosh, you would put me on the spot on that one.
Of course.
Shadow and Bone.
That's my job.
I can't remember the author's name, but it's right here on my shelf too. I can't pronounce it, Bardigo or something like that. But anyway, it's the Shadow and Bone series on Netflix. I read the first book. My daughter just got me the second book. I'm trying to finish the book I'm currently reading, which is called The Ghost Box. And I want to get into the second book before the series comes out next month. So I know what's going on. I have to read it first. I just do. But no, that one I love it. I'm loving, and my wife's kind of got me hooked on this. And please don't, if you guys don't judge me, but she's got me hooked on The Crown, which is another.
Oh, I'm not. Here's the thing. I am not here to judge because I have guilty pleasure TV shows. We all have guilty pleasure TV shows. I know, for instance, I don't know if you're like this, Steve, but me and Mark happen to be rewatchers from hell. We will rewatch the same shit over and over again. And I just rewatched all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Season 6 does not hold up well at all.
We're on season 6 right now too.
Are you? Doesn't hold up well.
Sadly, Angel season 4 is worse.
Oh, really? I actually never watched Angel, ironically enough. I thought about starting it.
First 3 seasons, awesome. So. and then the 5th season. Just skip season 4. You're good.
I probably will because anyway. But you trust us. We both rewatch Supernatural way more times than we'd like to discuss. So go ahead, guilty pleasure away. It's totally fine. Okay, Steve, I got a fun one. And this is the hot chocolate talking. What kind of paranormal experience would you like to have?
Well, I really would like to have a chance to talk with a ghost. I mean, if there was something I could do, just even if it was just a voice coming out of and ask them, what's it like, and what do they see? Do they feel cold or the heat? Can they smell? Do they, just to get more insight, something that may help me write something different or original that has never been discussed before. So now you got me wondering, my interview with a ghost, that'll come out in 2025. No.
I think that's a brilliant thing. Well, it's interesting because there's so much that we don't know about so many things in this world and other dimensions. Is that, so I don't think that's a bad thing. Do you like that question, Mark? That was a pretty fucking snazzy question though, wasn't it?
That was pretty snazzy. All right, so I got a question. I got to follow that up then. So
you got to follow that up. I want you to do just as snazzy as me, my friend.
All right. So Steve, you get the dream. Your books are sold to a network, and they're going to make them into a series or movie. Who do you cast as your main characters?
Well, are we talking about?
Well, the kids casting's tough because generally, you got to get with just whoever the kids are at the time. But let's say you're grown-ups. Which character do you focus on, and who plays him or her or them?
Currently, she's a voice actor. Her name is Lisa Ortiz. I met her again this past weekend. I met her before. She actually remembered who I was. She's a phenomenal lady. It's really nice that she, come up and say, "Hey, Steve, you recommended this con to me. Thank you." But I would recommend her to play the role of my mother. And I would probably go with someone like Eddie McClintock to play the role of my father.
Nice choice.
Eddie is a great actor. I loved him on Warehouse 13, and I think he could play a good father figure because there's some things that Dad does in my book that are kind of like freaky. He goes out to try to scare the kids and in the woods when they're camping out. So I think Eddie could pull that off really well.
Very cool. What?
Okay with following up your question?
I totally threw her off.
No, you know what? Mark is a bad example, in case anyone's wondering.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of like me. I can literally, in any circumstance, be used as a bad example. So it's fine. My question for you, avoiding what Mark's throwing me off doing, and he thinks he's doing a good job of it, but guess what? I've only had hot chocolate, so you can't fuck me up too badly. Is if you could be any paranormal creature or like fantastical creature, what would you be?
Oh man.
And why? See, we asked the tough questions here.
Yes, and I did a panel this weekend, and there was a question I wanted to ask that was very tough. So I get that.
If this is a tough question, we're in deep shit, Steve. That's what I say. If this is our tough question round, we're doomed here because we're only like halfway through this bad boy.
No, I guess if I had to pick one, I would rather be like a vampire.
Oh, what kind of vampire? You got to pick what universe because we know so many.
Not one that sparkles. I'm sorry for you Twilight fans.
Okay, you know what? People say that, but I'm just going to throw this out here because somebody said this the other day, and I went, "Oh shit!" They can go out in sunlight. They don't burn up. There's not a garlic thing. They're way tougher to kill than almost every other vampire is. They can't be staked through the heart. You literally have to rip their heads off and burn the bodies. So if you think about it, I cannot believe I'm defending this fucking point, but Mark's about to be on my side on this. These guys are tough as shit to kill. Like, if you're going to be a vampire, I understand and you're moody and you're angsty and you're a teenager forever. But guess what? All other vampires, almost every single one of them, even the ones from Vampire Diaries, they have to have a ring on, but they can still be staked and shit like that.
It's all fun and games till Blade shows up.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But no, I think that would be fascinating just because you could live like 900 years, 1,000 years, whatever, as long as you avoid getting your head ripped off.
Well, see, you're sparkly then. Otherwise, you have to do the other route.
I like some of the history. I'd love to see where the future generations are going. I mean, that would be kind of cool. So
okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Sorry, where do you want to travel? Like, if you could travel someplace right now, where would you want to go?
I would want to fly back to start in Venice, and then go over to Milan and work my way up through Switzerland. Because this is something my wife and I've been talking about, and going into Switzerland, going up into like Paris and maybe over to London. I want to see more of Europe. A couple of years ago, it's actually been 7 years now. We spent 2.5 weeks or so over in Italy, and it's one of my books is Gabby and Maddox, Adventures in Italy with Gabby and Maddox, and a lot of true facts in there. But I just love the rich history of Europe. And the things that I've been watching on The Crown and the Royals and just the histories. I mean, I love that kind of time period. So
I like it. So I got one more, Mark, and then you get to try to throw me off again, whatever bastard. Don't understand why you're doing that now when I'm sober. Is what fantastical world would you want to visit? Like one from literary, like for a literary world. Why can't I say that better when I'm drunk? What fuck? Okay, but that's the question, Steve.
I'm torn.
Okay.
Because, I would love to go to Hogwarts. I would love to be a part of that. That would be
book in Hogwarts though, because there's some.
Yeah,
sure. Shaky there.
But no, I mean, right from the get-go when they were young kids, like the Sorcerer's Stone. But no, I that's like just fascinating, the castles and all of that. The other one would be Middle Earth, with the Hobbit.
Again, what time period gets a little shaky there?
Well, back.
Steve, you got to pay attention to these things. Sauron.
Wars that happened.
Yeah.
Well, before the war happened.
There we
go. Or way after both wars. Wait, there was two wars.
The Battle of the Five Armies, okay? I don't.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, I'm not, a lot of people were pissed off about the Rings of Power. Is that the name of that show that was on?
Yep.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was okay. And I think that was the problem, is it was okay. You spend that much money and you do that and you don't hire good writers. The cast elevated that, the soundtrack elevated that, everything elevated that. The filmmaking was spot on. You can't get your basic story beats down, and it was very mystery box, which I'm not a fan of.
I don't know. I watched it straight through, so I was kind of good. I think anybody who's watching it, I'm way past watching things week by week. Like, screw that.
When Willow came out, was half the cost and was just as good. That surprised me. So
I haven't watched the Willow yet. I will. I'll catch up with it.
Not bad.
Okay, now Mark, it's time for you to ask a question and stop, belaying the point, because.
Okay. All right. So, Steve, who are your literary influences? Who do you look up to?
Well, one of them was Michael J. Sullivan. He wrote the Rivia Chronicles. I read some of his earlier work. I got really fascinated when he wrote a short story called Hollow World, and then he turned it into a full-blown novel. In the back of his book, it had his email address. So this goes back about 10 years. I'd sent him an email and told him how I was loving his books, and I was a writer as well. And we got to chatting a lot in regards to writing process. And he said, he gave me some advice. one that I still live by today. He said, I've been at this 10 or 12 years and I'm finally making it. And he said, so my advice to you, Steve, was enjoy the journey. Don't rush it. Enjoy every step of the process, the good with the bad. So I look at the bad like I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I hadn't done the vanity press. I continue to learn at every con I go to. Every time I release a new book, there's something that I learn and wish I would have done a little different or this or that. So I'm enjoying the journey, the good and the bad, and I've listened to his advice for a long time on that. But Suzanne Collins was another one. I was a big fan of the Hunger Games. I read the Gregor series, the Overlander. That was just a great series. And then to turn around, like she said, she was watching the news one night, and then it went into some of these reality game shows, and she was talking about how it made me think of today's world and the reality game shows and putting the Hunger Games together. It's just she just drew inspiration from that, and her whole career changed. So and those two really inspire me. I mean, my biggest idol I think is Stephen King. Even though, a lot of things he's always said, you can't edit a blank page. You just have to throw up your first draft. He always says, just keep pushing the story forward. And I'm like, yeah, well, did you push the story forward when you wrote 12,000 pages? And took 8 pages to describe somebody walking into a room in the dark. But no, Stephen King. But I think Michael J. Solomon was one of my big influences, telling me to slow down, enjoy the journey. And, because he asked me right up front, he goes, why do you write? And my first response was, I thought about, well, do I want to be famous? No, I just wanted to leave my stories behind. I wanted to leave something behind. My time will come to an end. And when I'm gone, at least my stories and where I grew up and my childhood experiences will be behind forever. That's kind of what really inspired me to write. And it wasn't about getting famous. It wasn't about anything other than that. I wanted to leave something behind, a piece of me.
Well, I think that's pretty brilliant, honestly.
We all want. Yep, it's awesome.
Okay. How the hell do I follow up that with my next question? You're a bastard.
You're good. We got her, Steve. We've been working on. We planned this at the Central Florida Comic Con this weekend. We planned it.
Oh, you know what?
I was there for all of 8 seconds. It was awesome. So
I was there for a little longer than that. And the lady sitting beside me in the panel kept trying to distract me.
Oh yeah, Maria.
Yeah.
Maria was having fun. So I said, Erica.
Maria can have fun anywhere. She's amazing in that way.
Yep.
Reminds me a lot of me. Steve, what is your favorite weird food combination?
Good grief. My weirdest food combination. I don't really know that I have any. I'm a very picky eater. So I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy. I guess I love candy and sweets. I can just go from sweet tarts to chocolates to whatever's in the bowl. I'll just keep going until it's empty. But, I don't put marshmallows on this or that, or I don't know. I don't really have any weird food combinations that I put together that I'm aware of. I love ketchup, and I refer to that a lot in my stories too. The kids are just drowning things in ketchup. So I love a little meat with my ketchup, and I love little French fries with my ketchup. But, that's probably my weirdest thing.
The weirdest thing, huh? What about what is something that is on your bucket list?
I got a couple of things on my bucket list. One, I would love to go skydiving. I just don't know if I have the courage. But I'd really love to take a hot air balloon in Europe and going over castles and stuff like that, seeing them from the sky. And it's just something that always has fascinated me. I love that Renaissance period. I just think that would be fascinating. So
I think that could be a lot of fun. I think if you want to go talk to some ghosts, though, you might want to just start going in those castles, because I'm quite sure there's
They
a bunch
usually
of
aren't in
them just
balloons
hanging
over
out.
them. I took a hot air balloon over Neuschwanstein and I did not see any ghosts. But in the castle, completely different story. So
nice.
Okay, and Mark comes in for the show off. Thank you, Mark, for being
well,
there.
no, I'm just saying that was one of my favorite experiences of he's got it right there. It's Neuschwanstein was, I enjoyed the castle inside, but hot air balloon over the top was like, oh my God. And Mr. I'm afraid of heights was, and this is over the mountains. I don't know how I survived it, but it was just so awe-inspiring. So I agree with you. Definitely something, and you can arrange it. So it can be arranged. So.
That's very cool. I went to, one of my favorite things ever was the Albuquerque, New Mexico International Hot Air Balloon Festival, which is something that I want to take my kids to. Now they're older. Now my daughter wants me to wait for my granddaughter to be a little bit older. I'm like, you keep putting it off. But like 1,000 hot air balloons will go off at the same time and you can ride in them.
Wow. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Yeah, no, it is one of the most absolutely beautiful, but hard to kind of describe why it's beautiful things to witness. But it's gorgeous. You get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. You have to be out there when it's nice and cold, because the balloons, hot air balloons, have to go up pretty much in the morning or when it's really cold, because if it's like noon, they don't really lift off well because the heat in them is matching the heat outside. Look at me in science. Mark, are you impressed? That was some science that I just used.
I just marked it down right there on the +1. So there you go.
What do you mean +1? What the hell?
You're on 36 on science, and I'm on 12. So
okay, well, I'm just gonna say what disappoints me is how many years we've known each other, and I'm only there.
I'm only on 12. So there we go.
That's true. Look, I know I can science better than Mark Muncy.
And I didn't even know we were keeping score.
Steve, of course we're keeping score. Steve, we're always keeping score. That's the entire existence, is keeping score of things. Okay, what is a genre that you have never written but would like to, but maybe you're a little afraid to even try to put your foot in that particular thing?
I would have to say erotica.
You want to write erotica, but you're afraid to?
I think I could. I don't know what my family would think, and I've already thought of this too. It's like, I publish under Steve Altier. My middle name is Clark, so I would probably publish under Stephen Clark.
You should look up that name to see if it's taken, but it sounds like you've already thought this out. I like this. We'll have to talk about this after this podcast. As two separate people on this podcast may or may not have ever written erotica stories, hypothetically speaking, with
under pseudonyms. Imagine that. So
yes, yeah. I mean, I might have a pseudonym I talk about all the time and write it under there. Yeah. So what about what is your favorite writing trope? I'm going to give Mark the final question after that. I'm glad I keep stumping you with these really difficult questions.
Those are good ones, though.
Well, I've always struggled with that. I mean, I really don't have an answer for that. I mean, so I'm going to have to give you I'm going to have to bow to you and say I don't have an answer.
Tapping out. Tap out
on that question. Oh my gosh. Making my sore throat come back, Steve. What the heck? This is, right. You're fired.
No. All right.
I don't think I can fire guests, but that would be cool.
You mentioned that you love reading. You've always loved reading.
Yes.
What is your go-to on a rainy day and you just nothing else to do? What do you crack open? What is your favorite book to go to? Just doesn't have to be a masterpiece, just what brings you joy.
It was a book, The Diary of Ellen Rimbauer, written by Joyce. You think I've been drinking now?
I was going to say, what the hell is in that cup, Steve?
I can't tell you.
I noticed that. Wow, can you send some my way? Because heck, one
Um,
more day of antibiotics, I can join you.
if I'm not mistaken, it was Joyce Reardon who wrote it, and Stephen King picked it up, turned it into a miniseries called Red Rose, or Rose Red. I'm sorry. Yes, it's been a while since I've gone to it, but I loved the diary format. I really did. I mean, it was like written like a diary, and you just feel like you're reading someone's personal diary the whole way through. If you haven't read that, it's a fascinating read. It starts off, like I think it was like around the 1800s in Africa, where they're down there. They come back. They move into Seattle. He wants to build her like this big old mansion. And it's haunted, and just a lot of mysterious things keep happening. Even when the construction stops, the house keeps building itself.
Sounds like the Windsor house.
It's like
it's
Winchester. It's like House of Leaves. It's very good. And it was his take on House of Leaves, and it was really good.
I mean, Mark, have you ever read that one? I mean,
yes, it's amazing. Amazing.
It's an amazing story. I love it. I mean, another one that I go to a lot is Tolkien and The Hobbit. I loved that. And it was funny story here. When I was in school, they told us to read The Hobbit. I did not like that. Now I love it.
Yeah.
Steve, I feel that no matter what book somebody tells you to read, even if it is a fucking masterpiece.
Yes.
I still hate Jane Eyre, even though I wasn't told to read it.
Yeah, I think that I could send you a masterpiece and you'd be like, you can't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me.
Well, and technically you are. No.
We're not going there, Steve. We got that all out in the last episode.
I better tap out again, right, Mark?
And I'm tapped out on Venmo, so it works out. So.
Okay, good. So with that said, Steve, shameless self-promotion time.
Oh, self-promotion?
That's you. It's your podcast. You have to shamelessly self-promote. Wow, that was painful. This should be the easiest part of your entire gig here on this show.
It's been
what the hell is in that cup, Steve? Seriously, my friend.
Oh, no, there's nothing in the cup. And
liars, lies, and slander.
You're watching Mark laugh up a storm. Now he's got me.
Oh, I know, man.
He is bright pink. Anybody actually watching this is going to enjoy that. If you're not listening, you gotta plug in.
I always have to mute when I start losing it like that. So it's too good.
You can learn all about me and visit my world on stevealtier.com. Again, stevealtier.com, ALTIER.com. All of my social media links are there. There's a link to the Four Horsemen website where you can find me there. There's also a link to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, any place that's online, or you can even buy them through my website if you're looking for personalized copies of my book. That is available, and my calendar's there, all my social media links there, and I'd love to meet you at one of my upcoming events this year. So come on by, visit my website, and get out there and see me in person.
Wonderful, Steve. It's been fantastic having you back on our podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I mean, I love this. I've really enjoyed it, and Mark, you're a great co-host. That's great.
Stop being nice to him.
All right, $5 more. There goes. I'm out.
I'm a couple more here, and I'm going to retire.
Yeah, exactly, man. I just had to break into the 401k. This is.
Mark, you're great, man.
Oh my God, I can't even take any more of this. You stroke his ego, and then
he screwed up. I'm taking it all back because when he said the best book you read all year was from Maria, not me. So
that's true. That's true. Oh, you didn't mention Erie, Appalachia. Steve, you're in deep shit. You could do better than this.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
That's probably for the best.
Probably a good idea. But you can also listen to us on Erie Travels, and if you subscribe, we'll be happy about that. So
yes, absolutely. Please listen to me and Mark debate the weirdest things in the world on Erie Travels. But please like and subscribe to this podcast. We would love to keep you on as a listener / viewer. Because, somebody gave me a compliment. I actually have to mention this on social media. Somebody sent me an email and literally said, it's like drunk history with authors.
That's exactly That nails it right on the nose
Yes.
there.
So,
Yep.
gonna work on that ad campaign, Drunk
There you
History.
go.
We're coming for you.
There's our blurb. That's our Netflix blurb.
When she,
Well-
somebody wanted to be on the show, and she's like, I was listening to my friend's podcast, episodes, and it was like Drunk History with Authors. Can I be on your show? And I'm like, oh, I must have been quite drunk that time. Yes, you can, please.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, this has been Drinking with Authors, the sober literary briefs edition. I don't buy that from Steve at all. He keeps holding up this
No,
cup of stuff, and Mark supposedly drinking tea, and I'm on antibiotics. I'm not going to lie.
I'll
Down
be
to just
fair. I don't know what's
marshmallow
in
slush.
this tea, but it could be. Who knows?
We got to work on. Maybe it has some opium. That would be cool. Are you looking to see if opium's an ingredient? I
I'm
appreciate.
looking to see what it might be allergic to in it, but I don't think so. It's butterscotch, cinnamon, ginger, cocoa nibs,
I don't
rose
know.
hips,
There's a lot of fun things that come in a bag like that.
orange cloves, marigold flowers, and apple. So I think I'm fine. But
Oh, there you go. You seem fine.
Morbid Curiosities, if you'd like to sponsor the show, please give us a call.
Yes. Guys, we'll see you next time.
He's trying to rebuild his bank account.
Yes. Exactly.